All right, today we're gonna answer the age-old question, how long does it take to get good at rapping? I'm your host, Drew Morrissey, and this is How to Rap. Now, before we go step by step, we want to make sure that you organize your expectations. So as long as you're trying to get good at rapping, you're going to need to identify certain common categories or common skills that you'll need in order to evaluate, am I good at rapping overall? So first, we're going to provide you with a list of common skills that you'll need in order to qualify to be dope, to be good at rapping. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list. There are many different things and components, but this is a general overview, a general blueprint you can use to know what do I need to get good at to feel like I'm good and predict that the average person is gonna enjoy me getting into these bars. Now, some of these names are gonna have overlap, or sometimes people describe them in different ways meaning the same thing. So for example, sometimes people say flow when they're talking about cadence. Sometimes people say promotion when they're talking about marketing. Sometimes they say delivery when they're talking about voice. But regardless, these are the common skills that you'll need, and we'll give you definitions, we'll give you tips, timelines, exact numbers as far as how long you'll probably take, and even more, we'll give you resources that you can go into the video description box below and check it out and really cut your time in half so you can get good real fast, which is why you're here. Now, before we break into the list, I just want to address the elephant in the room. Why should you listen to me? It's just some guy in the studio on YouTube. So I want to give you a little bit of the backstory and sort of how I came to be shooting videos about this and explaining it. Now, I wasn't born a musical person. My parents have never worked in entertainment. They enjoy music as much as the next person, but it's not like I was gifted with some skill to interpret great music, right? And I'm not from the streets or the hood or nothing like that. Basically a middle-class cat, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like I fit into the box. I'm not dripping with money, any of that. However, I have been able to have a full-time music career for over 10 years, haven't had a regular job, any like that. And I have some cool accolades that might help explain or show you that you can be a normal person and really have some of the cool things that you see your favorite rapper getting to without having to be dripping in money from the streets, musically talented, even any of that. Last year, I was paid a full-time salary plus hotels, flights, and expenses to travel around the world performing live music for businesses in over 15 countries and 3 continents. The year before, a full 3-bedroom Las Vegas mansion complete with a $12,000 home studio was rented just for me to make rap full time. And my last album was recorded, engineered, and produced by multi-platinum producer Perps of 808 Mafia, whose recent record was Hear Me Callin' by Juice WRLD. You probably heard it. And he also did 3 other songs on Juice's new album, Death Race for Love. Now, I'm not telling you this to brag, but I'm basically showing you a living example of being that musically untalented, not from the hood, not dripping in money person who's able to convert getting these skills that we're going to talk about into a full-time career and even do some of the things that we all think are only reserved for superstars, like traveling the world, getting paid to make music full-time. So I want this to be a real-life example, and every single answer is going to be, this is how long it took me, and this was the result, and here's a free resource to cut your time in half, even getting to that result. All right, so let's start with an outline of the common skills that you'll need with some definitions. First, we have songwriting. This is probably the most crucial aspect. It basically means, can you get good enough at writing raps in a format that people want to listen to them again and again and again, get them streams, sometimes called replay value. Next is beat selection, or the ability to choose the best music to back your raps. Next is flow, the ability to rhyme on beat in an interesting and original way, and we'll get into that. Or just starting, the ability to stay on beat. Next is performance, aka the ability to do good takes in the studio, or the ability to perform live in a good way. After that, we have voice, the ability to have an entertaining delivery and make people want to keep listening to you vocally. Next, we have rhyme schemes, or the ability to create interesting and unorthodox rhyme choices. And last, of course, we have promotion, marketing, getting your name out there, which is the ability to make people want to come out of their pockets and actually spend money to hear your music. So let's first start with songwriting. Now, in my backstory, when I was about 14 or 15 years old, I started rapping, and I'd been doing it for like a month. And I figured that was good enough to start calling industry people, find them online, hit them up, and I figured I'd just rap for them over the phone. They think I'm tight, and overnight, I'm Kendrick Lamar, right? So I called this dude up that I found online that said manager, record label owner. Figured he's as good as any. I call him on the phone and I start rapping immediately. I'm busting, yeah, check it, put it up. About 5 to 6 bars in, dude is like, young man, just stop, right? Give it a second, right? You're very passionate, that's very good, but I need to hear a song structure associated with these raps. And he explained to me, look, your average fan, the person that'll spend money on your records, stream you over and over again, that'll come to your shows, buy your merch, all that, they consume music like a fan, like somebody whose their life isn't depending on just hearing rap after rap. They're not like you as a rapper that's studying 5 fingers of depth. They're not like me as a record label owner that's just trying to hear the hit potential. You need to have proper song formatting and proper song structure, right? So what I'm gonna tell you is the first thing you should probably learn is song structure and song formatting, because the average person they don't know why they like it, but their ear is looking for something they can sing along to, something they can understand very quickly, something that they can enjoy when they're drunk, when they're high, when they're emotional, falling in love, falling out of love, right? And the song structure, the common strong formatting is the way they're gonna do that. Now, just keeping it real, it's only gonna take you 2 to 3 months to know the common formats of a song. Where is the chorus usually placed? How long is the chorus usually placed? 8 bars. How long is the verse? How long is the bridge? Things like that. You can learn those pretty quickly. And in the resources section of this video, under songwriting, I will give you access to our songwriting course. You can go enter your email and go check that out. But these things aren't exactly hard to learn. It is a lifelong journey to find your perfect songwriting format, and each song calls for a slightly different format. But to know the ins and outs of common length, where the sections go, what they sound like, only should take 2 to 3 months. So check out the video description box below for more info on that. Next is beat selection. After he told me, yo, you gotta format those songs, he said, yo, you got to make sure that you're rapping on a beat. I need to hear that. This is the music, this is the layer with which you know what I mean? This is the canvas that you paint the Mona Lisa on. So you're gonna need to learn how to do good beat selection as well. Now, again, this is something that you can learn relatively quickly in the sense that you can use other people for advice. A lot of things we're gonna be teaching you in this video, you need to do it yourself, but you can ask other people, what do you think is the best beat of these? Also, you can learn things like, what does a really high quality piano sound like? What does a great bass line sound like? You can learn this about 6 months to a year if you really focus on it. Again, lifelong journey. I'm not sitting here saying like 6 months from now, you're gonna be able to just choose every single great beat, but you can learn the common professional sound relatively quickly. And again, I'll hip you to that beat selection and song structure course that we have as a good resource for that. Next, of course, you have to have a flow. And if you've ever watched our definition of rap flow video that we had back in the day, we defined, just for simplicity's sake, flow as drum patterns in word form. Flow as drum patterns in word form. You can check the link for that video in the video description box, of course. But flow is one of the most crucial aspects, and it's kind of mystic. It's something, especially when you're new at rap, you're kind of confused by. But the easiest way to understand it is, how am I choosing the rhythm of my words in relation to the rhythm of the beat, and how am I using that in an original and exciting, unorthodox, unpredictable, in a good way, right? And this is something that will take a little bit longer than just knowing how long a chorus is supposed to be, or knowing that this beat sounds professional. But there are ways to cut down on that time, and you can begin to really know how to stay nice in the pocket, as we say. Now, we have a rap flow techniques playlist on this very YouTube channel. I organize all of our videos. It's hours of content, totally for free on YouTube. So go check the resources down there. But for me, it definitely took 3 to 4 years to get this, but this is pre-YouTube education. This is pre any of our videos breaking down flow. This is pre anything. I'm not a musically talented individual. Like, I just had to do it until I heard the common rhythm. So if you watch those playlists, I follow the instructions, count along, things like that, you should be able to cut that number down, 50, 75, maybe even 85%, and get your flow nice in the pocket pretty quickly. Next is performance, and we're gonna break this down into two sections. We have studio skills, studio performance, and live performance. Now, as far as the studio, often what's happening is if you're brand new to a studio, you're just getting used to being comfortable and being yourself and laying nice vocally in the booth and really reproducing what you hear in your head, right? Now, as far as confidence in the studio, it should only take 3 to 4 sessions, right? And you can speed that process up by getting more sessions. If it takes longer, it takes longer, but a lot of what you'll get used to in a studio outside of your home is just the fact that you have to interact with the engineer. People are usually coming in and out. Studio sessions, even with major celebrities, it has tons of people in them, and you've got to be very comfortable reproducing things there. Furthermore, you got to get used to impersonating yourself. And that's one thing we talk about in our free book, which talks about how to record an album totally on a tight budget and then make it full time. So that'll be in the video description box below. But we say, get very good at impersonating yourself, because you're going to be doing take after take after take, and you might just have to change one inflection to make the song or chorus even that much better. And that is a studio skill you'll be developing. But as far as confidence and the willingness to rap in front of other people in the studio, 3 to 4 sessions, you can knock that out in a month or two. Things like impersonating yourself, again, that's a vocal trick. Maybe we'll cover it a little bit more in voice, but it shouldn't take that long. Live performance, that's something that, again, has a lot to do with confidence and feeling comfortable on a stage. And if you just perform live 4, 5 times, again, doing it a lot more will help speed that up. But if you just perform live, you should be able to be pretty comfortable with rapping for whoever within a month or so, if you're doing it once a weekend for a month or 2, right? This is not something that you really have to stress out about. You'll be performing the rest of your life. You're gonna get the same benefits emotionally or confidence-wise from rapping for 4 or 5 people on the street that you would rapping for people record label owners, right? You're just getting used to projecting your voice properly in person. Things like stage presence and stuff, that's a little bit more subtle, and it depends on as much the mic quality and how many people are there. But we do have a free in-depth class on YouTube that I'll put in the resources section that talks about where you should point your eyes, how much you need to memorize, and things like that. So be sure to check that in the resources. Next, we have voice. This is another big issue for up-and-coming rappers. How long before I feel confident in my voice, or even more real, how long before I don't hate my voice? And that's a lot of beginning artists. Honestly, if you're working really hard and making 4 or 5 songs a week, even more, your voice will start to get real comfortable really quick. I would set aside maybe 6 to 12 months to perfect that. And after that, you'll begin to like your voice. But if you're one of these rappers or artists that doesn't like their voice initially, that's totally fine. It takes people a while to develop. Go listen to old Eminem. Go listen to early Jay-Z. Their voices were terrible. They were undeveloped. It took them time to get good. Now, a lot of times I see people that are like, but what about these artists who just, I've only been rapping 4 or 5 months, come straight off the street, got a dope voice, things like that. Look, those people are usually business people, maybe even drug dealers, street cats, coming from an environment where you have to get confident quick, and then they're coming into rap. So they probably have a different life story than you, and don't stress out too much if you're not exactly the most confident person. Don't compare yourself to a drug kingpin and them going to the studio for the first time or using their voice for the first time, and yourself, right? It's just totally different backstories. But for us mere mortals, it only will take you 6 months to 12 months in order to really feel confident in your voice. And I'll throw you one of our YouTube vocal trainings as well, just as a resource to help speed that up. Next, we have rhyme schemes. Now, if you're coming into this thinking, how long before I get as good as Eminem on Kamikaze or Joyner Lucas on ADHD, right? How do I get that good? All right, in the case of Eminem, right now, at the recording of this, he has been rhyming words together over a beat twice as long as a 15-year-old watching this video has been alive. A 15-year-old in 2020 has been alive. So no matter what, it's going to take you probably as long, if not longer, to get to where Eminem is in Kamikaze. But to be able to rhyme well, have an original and interesting rhyme choice, you can learn this within like a year. Now, one of our main pieces of How to Rap's channel is the rhyme scheme videos that we've done. If you look at our numbers, our most successful videos are these sort of revolutionary ideas about how to figure out really dope rhyme schemes, million-plus view videos, things like that. So I'm gonna throw you our rhyme scheme playlist to help along with that. Again, the more you do, the more you practice it, the quicker it is. But in order to know how to do multi-syllables, how to like sort of adjust your enunciation, things like that, you can expect about a year, and I'll definitely link you to all of our highest quality, highest viewed content on rhyme schemes. And last, we have marketing, promotion, getting yourself out there, right? Now, knowing the ins and outs of having a professional looking website, professional automated social media, things like that, it actually doesn't take as long as a lot of websites and YouTube channels are telling you. Just to get those things done, you can get that done within 6 weeks, right? You can get done, how do I automate all my social media so I just have to type it and it gets posted? How do I know what filters to use? How can I preset filters to have all my photos look the same and look high quality just by one click of a button? That stuff actually doesn't take that long. You have to think about it. Most social media companies outside of rap have to have systems and have developed systems in order to do that. The entire Adobe Creative Suite, for example, it's all there. The Photoshops, the Lightrooms, things like that, After Effects, that's all there specifically for people like yourself who are not graphic experts to be able to set up things to automate great social media and marketing. And then it's just a case of networking. And the more you get out there and the more you put your name out there one-on-one, the quicker you'll see results with that. But 6 weeks to get all this stuff done. There's no reason you can't have that done even faster. How to Rap was a fully functioning company within 6 weeks. Now, we have a course that's literally all about how do you start from just being in your bedroom or in your basement to having a full operating, basically rap company or media empire for yourself, much like our lovely 200,000 YouTube channel thing, right, within 6 weeks. So I'm just gonna link you to that. Just enter in your email and it'll show you all the information. You can kind of research if that's something that you want to do, but don't stress out so much about it should take forever for me to have a fully functioning operation to market my music. It doesn't take that long. Again, people invest millions of dollars, billions of dollars in apps in making this very simple, and those people want you to use their program. You think Spotify, right, doesn't want you to use its program? You think Adobe Photoshop doesn't want to make it easy on you, so you keep using it and paying for Adobe, right? So it's only take about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months to get that handled. Now, last thing before we head out, you're probably wondering, damn, 6 weeks here, 6 months here, 12 months there. This just sounds like too much, dog. Like, what am I supposed to do? All of these things are ideally supposed to be done at the same time. You're supposed to be doing these things at the same time. So if you do them concurrently, simultaneously, however you want to use the SAT word, you will cut down on your time. Again, a lot of these things took people like myself and other rap education channels a lot longer because we didn't have a YouTube. We didn't have tips all the time. We didn't have video courses and websites and blogs and articles for us to read. So you can cut down on this time, but you get out what you put in. Old cliche, but it's totally true. So if you're watching this and you're really, really serious about cutting down on your time, getting good at this thing fast, and taking advantage of all the resources you have, not just me, but just resources online, you will save a lot of time by doing these all at once. When you're in the studio recording your song, you're practicing your voice, you maybe are experimenting with song structure. When you're shooting your marketing video, you're getting better at networking because you're probably directing the video yourself, working with other people, creative people, right? All of this stuff overlaps and it grows on itself and it snowballs. So do not stress out about the timelines you've heard. Don't add it all up, multiply it, right? With that being said, I'm about to roll out a lot of information here. Again, I've organized it in the video description with resources, kind of an overview of what we talked about today. There's also a full article with all of this information written down. I'll put that in as well if you want to read it or come back to it. Tons of links, tons of information, or if you prefer to read this kind of stuff, that's all totally available as well. If you're first time watching watching us. Of course, subscribe, like, share, all that kind of stuff. And definitely leave us a comment if you enjoyed this content. We're going to be dropping a lot in 2019, 2020. I want to hear from you. We're checking every comment this year. And thank you for watching. I've been your host for How to Rap, Drew Morrissey, and I'll see you on the next one.